Hello, I'm Bill O'Neill and I'm your host for this special segment of Orion Neighborhood Television. Today you're going to meet some very special people who are making home ownership a reality for people in our community. Throughout Oakland County, Habitat for Humanity, teaming with religious, civic, and social leaders to give the opportunity to people in need to actually own a home. You'll meet some of those leaders, you'll meet representatives from Habitat for Humanity, and you'll meet two young women who will tell you a story about how home ownership has changed their lives. Tim Ruggles, the Executive Director and Chief Executive Officer of Habitat for Humanity of Oakland County. Tim, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
You've been here in the offices in Pontiac for about a year now. Habitat, I know, is working on numerous endeavors in the Oakland County area. This program, obviously, we're focusing on Lake Orion, but your big picture, the first year you've been here, what do you see? What are the achievements? Where's Habitat today?
Well, Bill, you know, I've lived in Oakland County my whole life, and I never realized that we had an issue with poverty right here in Oakland County. Being one of the richest counties in the nation, you wouldn't imagine that we had a poverty issue, but we do. There's over 104,000 people in Oakland County living below the poverty line right now. And what Habitat does is we help people help themselves out of poverty. Habitat's a great mission. It's been around since 1968, been very successful. It's got a great program. But the thing about Habitat is we rely on communities and neighbors and individuals to make Habitat happen in the community.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the area that you encompass, Oakland County, you talked about the needs in the county. And I know you're moving into this concept of citizen-based community coalitions. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, Habitat, really what's happening is Habitat's going back to its roots. Habitat originally started out as a grassroots effort. A couple of people, usually in a faith-based organization, decide they wanted to make a difference in their own community and help a neighbor who was struggling with their own financial situation and maybe didn't have typical access to home ownership. So that's the way Habitat started out. And then as time went along, we started building more and more houses and helping more and more families attain home ownership. And we were really focused on Pontiac. So for a period of time, everybody came to Habitat and helped out to help somebody here in Pontiac. Well, what we're doing now is we're going back out into the communities and looking for the interest in helping neighbors in individual communities. In Lake Orion, we have that, what I call a center of energy. We have people in Lake Orion who are interested in helping make an impact in their own community. So what we look for is we look for that initial motivation in a community, and then we build upon that by drawing in more people to help. Habitat takes quite a bit of volunteer involvement, financial support, and community effort to really build a house and to help a family out of their current situation and into home ownership.
Now you have identified the second homeowner for Lake Orion, I understand.
We have.
And tell me about a typical Habitat, if there is such a thing, a typical Habitat for Humanity homeowner.
Well, there's a little bit of criteria that's involved for a typical homeowner. First of all, they must be willing to partner with us. Habitat does not give away homes. We sell homes to families. And when I say families, that could be an individual, could be a couple, could be a single parent with children, could be just any variation of a family. But we look for their willingness to participate. Habitat homeowners actually have to contribute 300 hours of sweat equity in order to qualify for our program. So they have to be willing to put out the effort. This is not a giveaway. It's not a handout, it's a hand up. We're giving the families an opportunity to participate. One of the things we say now is that everyone who participates is Habitat. The family partner is part of what makes Habitat. So they have to have the willingness to participate, they have to have an income, they have to be able to afford a payment, and they have to have decent credit.
And how has the community in Lake Orion responded to Habitat coming into the community?
Lake Orion has embraced us wholeheartedly. We're still looking for more partners. While most people think of Habitat in our volunteer experience because we welcome volunteers with open arms. But another component of what we do is financial support. Because we are offering the homeowner a zero interest mortgage or a no profit mortgage, we need capital to build the house, we need donations of materials, so there's a lot of ways to participate. Lake Orion, several partners have stepped forward. We're still seeking out more partners. The faith community is involved. In fact, our homeowner, our current homeowner in Lake Orion, Tiffany Hickey, works at CJ's restaurant, and CJ's has stepped forward to do a fundraiser on August 20th from 4 to 10 p.m. and 20% of the proceeds will go to support the Habitat mission. If
somebody watching this program wants to get involved with your organization, either with sweat equity as you term it, or with, let's be honest, you need money, how do those people reach out to you?
Well, the easiest way is to go to our website at www.habitatoakland.org, or they can call us here at 248-338-1843. If they're interested in donating, that's the easiest way to do it. If they're interested in a partnership, they could call, talk to us about getting involved. There's really a lot of benefits to partnering with Habitat. First of all, if an organization or a business is looking to raise awareness in the community of their concern for their community, Habitat's a great organization to get involved with. Also lets the community know that not only are they looking out for their own profits, but they're willing to give back to the community at the same time. And it really has an impact. Our partners are seeing huge benefits to getting involved with us. The other way partners get involved is they can get involved from a volunteer perspective. And we have businesses who will actually send groups of volunteers to a build site and use it as a team building exercise. It's a great place to level the playing field of whatever the company hierarchy might be, where you'll have CEOs working with mail clerks and with people at all levels of the organization, and most of our partners really find that it's a great way to have an experience out of the norm of their daily workday.
Now you have an unusual perspective because you see the person who wants to be a homeowner from the time they apply and start in the process until the time they're in that home. How does it change their lives?
You know, it's really an amazing thing to see from start to finish, because when they come into the Habitat program and they're approved, initially there's some hesitancy. They don't know what they're getting into. And there's some skepticism initially, and maybe some fear, because most of the families we serve have never been homeowners before. But as part of the Habitat program, we help them through that process of educating and training them for success in home ownership. And in the end, what we experience is this overwhelming sense of gratitude because they've been given a hand up. It's this little push that Habitat gives them where they can start creating stability in their family because they own a home. We also find that in most poverty situations, the real cause of poverty is not the things you would typically see, like parents not being able to clothe or feed their children, but that's a result of a bigger problem, and typically that problem is home ownership, or excuse me, housing in Oakland County that is not affordable. We have a housing crisis in Oakland County in that there is no affordable rental property. So what Habitat does through our program is we provide affordable home ownership, and typically where you might have a family that was paying $800 for a one-bedroom apartment per month, typical Habitat payment is in the $500 range per month. So it's a great program, and that's why there's that overwhelming sense of gratitude from the family.
We talked about potential volunteers and potential donors and people wanting to get involved. I understand, though, that you're actively encouraging people to apply to become a homeowner. You're seeking applicants. We are, especially up in the Lake Orion area and the northern and the westernmost townships in the county. We are looking for families. If families don't consider themselves to be living in poverty, that's fine. We're looking for working families. They've got to have a means to pay the mortgage. So it would be low to middle income. And if they're not certain if they would qualify, just call us up. We'll help them through a real easy process, and we'll help them find out if they can qualify for the program. But we have opportunities for families, and we need to get the word out that people who maybe don't have the ability for home ownership through conventional means, come talk to us, because we can open the door for them. You've been involved in your career in a lot of private and public enterprise endeavors and nonprofit organizations. This must be pretty gratifying to be able to see what happens at the end of the day. You know, it really is. I'm really pretty lucky to be involved in this organization because it's a career for me. I have been involved in nonprofits for over 15 years. But what we do is so important to human beings in our communities. And everyone who works there at Habitat has that sense of really making a difference. Last question, and then I'll open it up to anything you'd like to talk about. Are you surprised when you go out to people in Oakland County and you say to them, like you said to the folks watching this program, we have a housing crisis, we don't have enough affordable places for people to live, we have serious poverty in this county, which is among the top, what, 3 to 5 in the country? Are people shocked by that? I don't know that people are shocked. I think people go about their day in Oakland County and they just don't think about it. And it's time, being a very wealthy county, that we think about it and do something about it. Habitat believes no one should be without decent shelter. And yet we see people on the streets. We know probably everyone in this county who lives a comfortable life knows somebody who's struggling, and those are the people that Habitat can help. Any final words, any final message you'd like to get out? Well, I'd just like to encourage our viewers to get involved. You can get involved by volunteering, by donating, or by telling somebody you know that may have a financial struggle, that Habitat has an opportunity for home ownership. And give us a call, because we'd like your involvement in any of those ways. Again, you can contact us by logging onto our website at www.habitatoakland.org, or you can call us at 248-338-1843. Even if you just have a question, we'd be happy to talk to you. And you can come to CJ's in Lake Orion on August 20th, correct? Correct. Please come and support CJ's, and Tiffany, our new homeowner, will be there, and you can meet her, and you can take part in that fundraiser where 20% of the meal tickets on August 20th will go to support the Habitat mission. Tim Ruggles, thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Bill.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, you know, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Christ the Redeemer Catholic community here in Lake Orion and its pastor, Father Joe Daly, have been longtime supporters of Habitat for Humanity. They've been involved in home building in Pontiac and throughout Oakland County and now are focused in the Lake Orion community. It dates back to 1995 when Father Joe and members of the parish were involved in building and planning this impressive then new complex. Father Joe Daly is the pastor at Christ the Redeemer Catholic community in Lake Orion. Father Joe, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure.
You've been here a long time, 23 years, as
Yes.
you were telling me. And your community, you and your community, deeply involved in helping those who are in need. You believe in and participate in many, many projects, and you've been helping Habitat here in Oakland County since 1995. You've participated in the building of homes in Southfield and other communities in Pontiac, and now I know you're involved in the one here in Lake Orion. Talk to us a bit about what this means and why Habitat is so important to you and your community here.
Well, I think our parish from the very beginning, like you say, I've been here a long time. From the very beginning, even before I came, it was a small community, so they didn't have any material possessions, which was a great thing. It's a great freedom, so they could take care of other issues and other needs. So even before I came, they had raised money for a woman for a liver transplant. This was 25 years ago, so it was before that was even something that insurance companies did, you know. And that woman got a transplant and lived, you know. So I think that was part of just in the fabric of who we were as a community. And so when it came time for us to, there was a time when I first came as pastor, there was a deacon in our parish he was a parishioner who was training to be a deacon, and he came to me one day and he said, you know, the church in St. Andrews, where he was doing his internship, has a practice of giving away 10% of their Sunday collection to the poor. I said, well, that's nice. And he said, well, I think Christ the Redeemer should do that. And I said, well, we can't give away our money. You know, we need our money. You know, at the time we had a debt of, $300,000. Now our debt's about $2 million. So, but I was very concerned about that big debt. And I said, well, we can't give our money away. And so he said, well, can I talk to the parish council? I said, sure. I was pretty sure they'd agree with me, but they agreed with him. And so we started, that was back in 1991, we started giving away 10% of our Sunday collection to the poor. And it turns out, and I figured this out like right away, and it's still true, it's the only budget item we have that's correct every year. We just take 10% right off the top and we give it away. But I also learned that if you hold on, you only have what you have. But if you give away, you receive more in return. Your financial advisor doesn't know this, but your pastor does. And so we began to tithe. It was called, the biblical word for that is tithing. We began to give away. And so when we began to plan to build this church where we are right now, back in 1995, it was a big project. The construction was completed in the year 2000. We moved in, but we were already planning it back in 95. And so we said, well, you know, if we give away 10% of our collection to the poor, maybe we should give away a portion of our church before we build it. You know, we should use the same idea that you know, how you care for the poor is really should really be the measure by which you measure a Catholic community. So we said, well, let's do this. Let's build a house for the poor, before we build a house for the church. And so that's what we did. And we just decided to do that. And we had fundraisers. Somebody was reminding me the other day, we had spaghetti suppers like coming out of our ears, you know, but we did it the hard way. We just began raising funds. We used some of our tithing money as part of that. And so it started. Well, I mean, the obvious is once you build on that foundation, guess what? Sure. It's in our blood. It's in the very fabric of this building. So sure. We've been involved pretty much ever since.
And you were very heavily involved in Pontiac, and now you're getting more involved in Lake Orion as Habitat moves into this community. What do you see as that? What does that mean for the community in Lake Orion?
Well, I think people are actually happy that we're, you know, local, because now we can say, well, yeah, when there are people here in need. I mean, it's fine. We have our teens. In fact, just this very week, our teens are down in my old neighborhood in Detroit, the Brightmoor district. They've been going down there and helping. They're doing some rehab work. They really do a lot of deconstruction. They love sledgehammers, you know, knocking down abandoned buildings. And there's a great need for that. We've been doing that for probably 10 years or so. We've been going down to the Brightmoor area. So, and the parishioners are very happy to support that. So glad that the teens go and do that. And of course, we're very happy to be involved in any of our outreach. But it's always nice when it's close to home too, and that there are people right in our community. I think the family that's part of this year's Habitat is somebody we know, you know, we see her in town. So that makes a difference, I think.
How long do you think it took you to get people really to embrace this? I mean, was this something that instantly happened, or did you have to say to folks, you know, we can do better, we can do more?
No, I don't. No, we never had to push it. I think people just responded. I mean, the people have a good heart, you know, so they're naturally responsive to those kind of needs, and you present it in a way it's real clear and it's a real obvious thing. Well, that's not that hard. We can do this. And so we do. If we can build a whole church, we can certainly build one house.
If you were to say to someone what Habitat for Humanity means to a person, you've been in contact, you've seen people who are the recipients of this, what does it mean to that person?
Well, I think probably the best things that I've seen just in our own involvement. I was involved in Habitat before I was at this church. So when I used to work at Western Michigan University, I first was involved with Habitat. We used to take students down to Robbins, Tennessee. That was quite a hike. Wow. So now, you know, now it's more local. But I remember our first house, and you know, we were involved with the family as we were in the process of building, and then that involvement didn't end. Some families continued a relationship. I don't know if it's ongoing, because that's a few years ago. It's 15 years ago, but more than that, so 17 years. So, but for a long time, there was a continued relationship with that family, and I think that's really the hallmark of the community. Let's not just get involved for a time. Let's covenant. Let's form a relationship. There's a community that I met in Antwerp, Belgium, but they're all over the world. They're in Rome. They started in Rome. It's called the Sant'Egidio community. It's named after, in English, it would be St. Giles. Egidio is the name. And their mission is to become friends with the poor. So they don't have soup kitchens, they have restaurants. And the members of the Sant'Egidio community sit down and have dinner with the poor that are invited in. So we went to the restaurant and had dinner when we were in Antwerp. So it's a great model, you know. We're not just giving somebody something. We want to have a relationship with this person. It's because it's going to impact them. It's going to impact us. So I think that may be part of what the benefit that we receive as church from this relationship with somebody in an ongoing relationship with Habitat.
I know you've had an opportunity to talk to many business leaders and spiritual leaders, social leaders in and around this area. What was your message to them? What did you tell them as you charged them in these meetings?
Oh, I told them about our building a house for the poor before we built our house for the church, and they thought, well, that's pretty interesting. And it is.
And did they sign up?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, you know, I think a lot of times we suffer from a lack of imagination. We think, oh, that's too hard, I can't do that. And they said, well, it's not that hard, and let's just imagine it together. And so we can give them a wonderful story to help, you know, jog the imagination. And once you can imagine something, it's not hard to do it. So most people are afraid to take that first step. Sure. You know, can we imagine doing this? Can we imagine that? Well, yeah, why not? And then that's the first step. Then we'll do it. We'll find a way.
Any final thoughts? Anything you'd like to add that I didn't ask you?
No, I have some of my tools ready though to go help this summer for the project.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Father Joe Daly, thank you so much.
My pleasure, thanks.
Three students were in the hospital this past weekend.
2 honor roll students were hospitalized last night.
5 local students lost their college scholarships last night.
Another local high school student has passed away.
Another 3 dead.
Claimed the life of another local teenager.
The cause?
Alcohol.
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 I don't want to be another number.
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 I don't want to be just another number.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Kara Carruth is Lake Orion's 2011 Habitat homeowner, and home ownership has changed her life and the lives of her young son and daughter in ways that she never could have anticipated. Kara, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about you. Tell us, before we get into the home ownership, who's Kara? What's your story?
I'm a single mom. My kids are now 10 and almost 13.
Wow.
Hard to believe I have a teenager.
Wow.
I have my master's degree from Walsh College. I worked on that once I became single. I received my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, and my master's degree within a span of 4 years.
Whoa.
So, with a lot of help from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm a financial planner and I teach at Walsh College. So I like to give back, which is one reason why everybody assumes teachers make a lot of money, and they don't, but it's good to give back, and then I enjoy that.
So I was going to say, what do you do in your spare time, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. So how did you find out about Habitat? You mentioned to me when we were talking before we started that you actually were involved with them before you decided to look into home ownership.
I was involved with Habitat a little bit through my church, and one of the women that I go to church with, Kim Donnelly, was the director at Habitat, and I knew that she was the director there because we would go and volunteer on some buildings and we would raise money for them. She approached me in December of 2010 and suggested that maybe I would be a good candidate. I was leery because I didn't quite understand Habitat's ownership.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was for low-income families. I didn't think that I would qualify, and plus that I also had maybe had preconceived notions that the houses were all in Pontiac, and because I had 2 kids and my kids go to Lake Orion schools, I wanted them to maintain in Lake Orion schools.
Right.
Now I was living with my parents at the time, which is why I would have the need that Habitat has to offer home ownership. So she had suggested, she's like, "What, you should apply." And so I did, and the application process is kind of long and it's lengthy, but in the end, obviously, it's well worth it.
Now, your kids were able to stay in the Lake Orion schools.
They were.
You're able to stay in the community that you're familiar with.
Correct.
You put yourself back through school. You have a job and a teaching job.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you were saying to me a moment ago, you did volunteer work. Do you still do volunteer work?
I do a lot of volunteer work. I sit on the district board of the Lutheran Women's Missionary League.
Okay.
I also sit on a board for Building Bridges, which is a nonprofit organization that helps inner city kids get better educations at different schools.
Okay.
I volunteer quite a bit. I volunteer at a soup kitchen as well in Pontiac, so I think it's good to give back.
Now, I understand in the Habitat process that there's a 300-hour sweat equity, which is a lot of different things. Talk to us about how you managed that with all of the other things going on.
It is a lot. Habitat does offer that you can have some of your friends and family do 100 hours of it. So I only had to do 200 hours of it.
Okay.
My 200 hours, I'm not real handy with the hammer. I did a lot of work on my house, which is great. At first I thought I'm not going to be able to help much, but when you get here and the volunteers, they show you how to do things, and it takes me longer than it would take a trained volunteer, but I put a lot of time into my house, so which makes it your own.
Right, exactly.
Other than that, I did a lot of clerical work. Habitat had an outdated application process that I spent a lot of time on putting it into a fill-in form that you can email, opposed to just sending through the regular mail.
Okay.
So they give their homeowners a lot of different ways to raise the sweat equity time, besides just pounding nails and hammering walls.
And there's home ownership classes too, are there not?
There are. You take classes on finances.
There you go.
And
yeah. Did you teach those too?
I did not, but I felt really bad for the person that did, because I had a lot of questions for them that I'm sure that they didn't appreciate. You take classes on landscaping, home maintenance, how to caulk windows, how to replace your garbage disposal. Habitat sets you up to get a house, but then they want to make sure that you know how to maintain it,
right,
how to take care of it, so your house doesn't become the eyesore in the neighborhood because you didn't know how to do something.
You were the first Habitat homeowner in Lake Orion.
Yes.
How's the community been? How's it worked out?
Oh, it's great. My daughter's new best friend lives 4 houses up the street, and her mom had told me that she'd been praying for a long time that a new family would move in with kids, because her daughter, there's not a lot of kids in this neighborhood, and her daughter needed a friend, and it worked out perfect that my daughter needed a friend, and so the two of them are like peas and carrots.
How'd this change your life?
Well, I have a home. I have a place to call my own. My kids have their own bedrooms that they kind of have painted the colors they want. It gave us roots, and it gave us roots in the community besides being in my parents' house.
What would you say to someone who says to you, should I consider this? Should I apply? I'm sure people are nervous.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's not what you think. I thought it was a handout. It's a hand up. Habitat, you work to get a house, you pay a mortgage just like your neighbors. It's so much different than what you think it is. And before you'd say no, find out more about what Habitat has to offer. And the fact that they do build houses in your community, like Lake Orion. A lot of people don't want to move to different communities because that's what they think Habitat is. Well, they have houses in Pontiac or Madison Heights, but they're building houses here in Lake Orion and different cities around here as well. So I would say it's definitely well worth the interest to at least pursue.
Have you met Tiffany Hickey, who's going to be the second homeowner?
I have. I met her once at a Habitat event at the church. So I'm excited for her. I'm excited to get to help build her house.
What'd you tell her?
I told her that everything takes time, and that if you have the patience, in the end, it works out in your favor.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have a lot to do.
Yeah. I stay busy.
I imagine you do.
Yeah, I do.
Thanks again.
Absolutely.
Please remember that CFL bulbs, you know, those curly, energy-efficient light bulbs everybody is using to save electricity, shouldn't be thrown away in your trash. Neither should batteries or home medical sharps. You can check with your local community to see where they can be recycled. Some retailers will allow you to bring them in for recycling. You can also order simple kits online that allow you to collect your recyclables and simply mail them away to be properly recycled. This green tip was brought to you by your friends at Waste Management.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
Tiffany Hickey and her young daughters will become the second homeowner with Habitat for Humanity in Lake Orion They'll be breaking ground, I understand, in August. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And Tiffany is a lifelong resident of the area. I understand you're in Oxford now and you're commuting back and forth, so this will make life a little easier for you.
It will.
Talk to me a little bit about, first of all, we're in familiar surroundings for you here. You work at CJ's Grill and Sandbar.
Yes, I do.
You do. And you've been here how long?
I've been here for 10 years.
Obviously you like it here.
I love it here.
Good answer. Tiffany, talk to me a little bit about how did you find out about Habitat for Humanity and what was your reaction when you heard about the program?
I actually moved back home with my mom about 1.5 years ago with my kids to save money and see about buying a house for myself and them. And I was having problems with my income, and mainly just my income, but a friend of mine who works for HUD, he had told me that he had been seeing Habitat signs all over, all over Michigan.
Right.
And he told me that I should go down there and check it out, see what was going on. And so I did. I called. It was about 1 year ago, right now. It was last summer in July that I called. And they sent me an application through the mail and said that they were trying to come to areas that people wanted to be in, instead of just building in the inner cities and all of that.
So now this is an opportunity for you to get into Lake Orion, into the community.
Yes.
And that'll be a little easier for you from a job standpoint, no doubt. How will that impact your daughters? How old are your girls?
My girls are 11 and 6.
Okay. And this will be good for them?
This will be good for them. They already go to Lake Orion schools.
Okay.
We're right on the border of Oxford and Lake Orion.
Okay.
So they get to stay in the same school district, which they're very happy about. My daughter, Mackenzie's going to middle school, so that's huge that she doesn't have to change her school district.
Sure.
So she gets to stay in the same school district.
So this is really a win-win any way you look at it.
It is a win-win, because I work here and I grew up here. My kids already go to school here.
Were you concerned when you heard Habitat for Humanity? Were you concerned at all about some of the myths that it's a giveaway program, it's for people who can't afford, which obviously I know you have an opinion on. But were you concerned about that at all?
I actually didn't really know a lot about Habitat. I didn't really know, of course I've heard about them. I don't really know exactly what they did. I knew they went and built houses, but I wasn't really for sure where or for who, or I was very surprised that I was able to actually apply for it and actually got approved. I actually like that it's not a giveaway program.
You have sweat equity in this home. You're going to have to dedicate 300 hours to work with the project, I understand.
I am.
And how are you going to do that?
Well, I actually almost have half of my hours done.
Oh, fabulous. How'd you do that?
Working in the office. Working in their office, doing some paperwork and computer work, and working in they have a rehab store,
Sure.
Working in there, and they have you take classes, financial classes, teach you a little bit about money and saving and budgeting. Those actually count for hours. So I have about half done.
Have you've seen the property, and have you seen the plans for your house?
I have seen the property.
What do you think?
I'm very pleased with it.
Good.
I like the location and where it's at. So actually, it's down the street I've never even been down before.
So if they break ground and start the work in August, when do you think you'll be into your home? Do you know?
I think they're thinking January. To be safe, to give them enough time. They actually don't really, know exactly how much work has to get put into the house until they start taking the stuff down.
Sure. So kind of a late Christmas present for you and your family?
Exactly.
Okay, talk to me a little bit, if you would, about what you would say to a person if you met them and said to them, Habitat for Humanity, think about it, consider it. Give them a little sales pitch. Tell us why it's good.
It has been a life-changing experience for me. I feel very, very blessed to have been given this opportunity, and I've had a lot of great things come from it. And I tell all my friends all the time, you guys need to go down there, and it's super easy. Even if they deny you, they help you. they tell you what it is, why you're getting denied, what you can do to fix it.
Sure.
You know, come back and apply. I don't think they have like a limitation on how many times you can apply.
Sure.
But it's a really great program. The people are really great, you know. Every time I see them, they greet me with a hug, and, you know.
That makes you feel good.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you now. You're living with your mom, did you say?
Yes.
I think, okay. If you were not, you'd have to go and probably rent a place.
Yes.
Difference between renting a place and owning your own place. I know that's a lot of life-changing differences, but how is it financially for you with the Habitat program? Is it actually a benefit for you, and is your mortgage payment less than what your rent would be?
My mortgage payment is probably half of what I was paying in rent before I moved to my mom's.
Really? Okay.
I'm not exactly sure of exactly how much my mortgage is, but I kind of know about, you know, how much. And that's huge. You know, I'll be able to save money, and me and my kids can still go to the movies, or I can still, you know, provide, you know, pleasures for my kids too, instead of.
Sure. So the success rate for people who work with the Habitat for Humanity program seems to be exceptional. Seems to be above the average of people who apply for just a conventional mortgage. That doesn't happen by accident. I know you have been involved in some classes, some training, some preparation for home ownership. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Habitat has you take some classes to help you prepare. They teach you about saving money and budgeting your money, and they even have, I did a landscaping class. You know, they take you around to a house that they've done and teach you how to keep up with all the things around your house, your gutters, everything like that. They take you inside. They have a maintenance class. They show you, you know, things about like the thermostat, your, you know, furnace, what to do if you have a leak under your sink, things like that to help you maintain your home so that, you know, it doesn't fall apart on you.
Sure. Now this will be your first home, correct?
This will be my first home, yeah.
So a lot of that was new and probably useful for you.
Oh yeah.
Stuff you wouldn't have thought of until you were in there already.
Exactly, exactly.
Does anything scare you about home ownership? You don't impress me as someone who gets scared. So does anything scare you about home ownership?
No, I'm ready. You know, I feel like I'm really ready. I want to do it, and I want to have my own home and our own yard, and we can do whatever we want, and paint it whatever color we want to.
So you can shovel the snow and cut the lawn and do whatever you need to.
Yeah, my one daughter, she likes to cut the grass, so that'll be her job.
Really?
My brothers, they have work for a landscaping company, so I think I'll get pretty lucky between the two of them.
There you go.
Of catching a break there.
Tell us, last question, tell us your impression so far of the fact that the folks here at CJ's are going to do this fundraiser on August 20th, which they were talking about.
Right.
I think that's pretty nice. They must think a lot of you, Tiffany.
It is very nice. They're very nice, the owners here, Carl and Joni. They're obviously wonderful to work for since I've been here for so long. And a lot of our employees have been here for a very long time. So that does tell you a lot about the owners. And I'm very grateful for them and for everybody else that is, you know, done things for me and my girls.
So everybody should come out August 20th.
August 20th.
Eat, drink, and enjoy themselves from 4 to 2.
Exactly.
And you'll be in your new home. It'll be colder.
It'll be colder.
But you'll be in your new home.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Three students were in the hospital this past weekend.
2 honor roll students were hospitalized last night.
5 local students lost their college scholarships last night.
Another local high school student has passed away.
Another 3 dead. Claimed the life of another local teenager.
The cause?
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
Alcohol. I don't want to be another number.
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 I don't want to be just another number.
Prescription drug abuse is a national epidemic. The new in way to obtain drugs is through parents' or grandparents' medicine chests. Removing prescriptions from your cabinet is the best way to keep drugs out of the hands of our young people. We've got to work together to protect our teens, our seniors, and our environment. Clean out your medicine cabinet today. Please participate in Operation Medicine Cabinet and drop off your unwanted or expired prescriptions at one of our law enforcement drop-off sites in Oakland County. We can't ignore this situation anymore.
We're at CJ's Lakeside Grill and Sandbar in the historic downtown in Lake Orion with Joni Slumshensky. Is that close enough, Joni?
That's great.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
And you and your husband Carl are the owners here.
That's it.
And you've been here for, you said, what, 15 years?
Yep, it'll be 15 years in January.
And Tiffany Hickey has been one of your employees for a long period of that time.
Quite a while, yes, she has. And her mother also.
Okay, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Her mom too. Okay, talk to us a little bit, first of all, about the fundraiser you're going to be doing on August the 20th.
Well, we're doing a fundraiser August 20th. It's from 4 p.m. until close, which we close at 2 a.m. And 20% of all the proceeds will go directly to Habitat.
Terrific. So, and people can just walk up like they normally would to eat or buy drinks or whatever, and everything's good to go.
Yep, everybody's welcome. There's no coupons to clip or vouchers to bring in. Just, you know, whoever wants to come on in, 20% of your...
That's terrific. Now, obviously you guys have a relationship with Tiffany for a long period of time.
Yes, we do.
And I'm sure that has some bearing on your support for Habitat.
Oh, definitely.
We're talking to Tiffany today as the second homeowner in the community. And she obviously is quite excited about that, but this must mean something special for you folks to see a person get that opportunity.
Oh, it does. You know, it's always great when you can help somebody out. You know, Tiffany's a real hard worker. I mean, she works hard here, very dedicated. You know, a little boost like this could mean the world for both her and her kids. And it's just great that there are programs like this out, you know, around that can help out people.
Would you have known about this program without Tiffany, or did you find out from somebody else and say, gee, maybe Tiffany, you should look for this?
No, actually, I had heard about it through church. I go to St. Joseph's, and then also Christ the Redeemer, periodically with my mother. And so I knew about it. I didn't know any of the specifics. I wasn't exactly sure how it worked, but I think it's a wonderful program.
You're supportive of it from a community standpoint. You think it's important for the community to have programs like Habitat?
Oh, definitely. I definitely do. It helps out tremendously.
Now, how will this change Tiffany's life, do you think? We're going to ask her the same question, but you're someone who's known her for a long time. What do you think this will do?
You know, I think it'll help her, you know, breathe a little easier. You know, not so stressful as far as, you know, making ends meet. You know, she's got a couple of little ones, and I'm sure it's tight. And I think this will just give her her own space, her, you know, just a little breathing room.
And I understand that she actually has to drive from Oxford to Lake Orion currently, but now she'll be closer, and I'm sure that'll make it a little easier for her too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Anything you'd like to say about your fundraiser or your relationship or your association with Habitat?
Well, I just want to say I think it's a wonderful program. I think it does a lot of good for a lot of people, and I just want everyone to come on out to CJ's Lakeside Grill and Sandbar, August 20th. Come on out, eat, drink, have fun, and know that it's for going to a good cause.
4 p.m. to 2 a.m., 20% of everything you take in.
You got it.
Fabulous. Yeah. Joni, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Habitat for Humanity has made the dream of home ownership a reality for local communities since 1994. And with the help of corporate sponsors, donors, and the faith community, they've been able to build or rehab nearly 150 homes. As Habitat works to form citizen-led coalitions in Lake Orion and Clarkston, the support of local residents is even more important. That's why they're reaching out to you. Maybe you or someone you know needs decent, safe housing. Habitat is looking for families or individuals interested in living throughout Oakland County, but particularly in the Lake Orion, Oxford, and Clarkston areas. Or perhaps you've been looking to volunteer with a worthwhile organization. Habitat for Humanity here in Oakland County needs your time and your talent. Maybe you were moved by Tiffany and Kara's success stories, and you want to help fund the next Habitat home in Lake Orion. The financial support of individual donors and corporate sponsors ensures that Habitat will be able to build the next home and give another family a roof over their heads. Habitat welcomes everyone who wants to be part of their mission. For more information, go to their website or call their offices directly.